And we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Michael here. In this video, I will be going over the 550 above FICO credit score to get a business loan. These updates, things that have been added and changed. Perhaps you've gone through some applications. You've been denied for not having enough of a FICO credit score, and or the revenue isn't sufficient enough to override also that credit score, and a lot more in this video. If you are here on this live, give me a hashtag live or a hashtag replay before I get started. And I will just cover some extra tips towards the end of this video on how to get up to 2 million incredibly fast funding and even same day instant approval funding, as well as I want to get into before that just the categories of business funding. And what I mean by categories, if you're in this bucket, what should you get approved for? If you are in this category of revenue, or if this is the amount you're asking for, what can you get approved for? And so forth. Hi, Ming. Good to see you. My site is Viral Funding Solutions. And let me put this in the comments. How are you doing, by the way? I have left you a comment if you can see that. You can also allow StreamYard access. I know some of you guys may have done that already, but I don't always put the person's video on screen because I want to do it this way, at least for this one and now. But if you're watching this on YouTube or elsewhere, then welcome in. You just got in here at the right time. It's been an amazing week. It's been very productive. You can see some light, but the clouds just above are not pitch black, but somewhat. So it can, I haven't even checked the weather today to see if it's going to rain here in Vancouver, Washington. But where are you guys tuning in from? What part of the world? What city, county, state, etc.? What do you have going on this weekend? Anything fun planned? Just hanging out at home? I think I'm just going to be at home, not doing much, probably just hanging out with family, taking it easy because it's been a rough week. I'll work a little bit tomorrow, fill out some more questionnaires that you guys have been submitting, which, by the way, if you have not, and this is the first time you're tuning in, then I will leave you a questionnaire when this video is uploaded in the description. So fill that form out where you can simply fill out some funding details and it'll land in my email. I will then analyze it, evaluate it, and give you a proper response back on your best funding option and options. Very thorough and broken down. I've been doing that just earlier for people. People have been coming in who've been receiving offers and taking them. People who've been declined. People who didn't want to take an offer because maybe perhaps they were offered some type of a payment structure and the repayment wouldn't make sense to them. And it could hurt their cash flow. And since then, I have given them an alternative option, and we're under investigation to see what we can review for there. And what I want to make notice of is that people who have been submitting applications lately don't have the revenue requirements. Every one of you watching right now and who will be watching on the replay need to understand that for the most part, you can be given a reason why you did not qualify, one, and a lot of the times it isn't as specific, so you can probably speak to me about that. But for the most part, you should be checking your emails consistently, texts, if anything, calls, if that, and or for any kind of updates. I get a lot of business owners who reach out to me, well, what is the status of my application? And I ask them, have you checked any of your emails? Have you been answering any calls if necessary from our underwriters, etc., to conduct a phone call? And they go, I don't know. Well, that's where you should turn to first. Let's be as resourceful as possible. You are a business owner for a reason, right? If you want to manage, if you want to be able to understand all these different parts of your business, this is what you need to get on top of. And you need to really understand that. So you are from New York? Awesome. I've been there. I was there, what was it, 2021? No, 2020. I want to say 2020, I think. Just before the pandemic, like just started to hit. We were like at the tail of it. I went on vacation there with family, and we were like next to the Brooklyn Bridge on the New York, on the side. And so we just heard some ambulances rushing at one point. I don't know if somebody was trying, I don't even know, but I don't, maybe somebody was trying to jump off I don't know what the case was. We couldn't tell, we couldn't see anything. Regardless of that day and anything that happened that day, it was an amazing time in New York. I had a lot of great experiences and memories. So I wish to go there soon in the future. I love it there. It's amazing stuff. But yeah, that's what I want to let you guys know is to make sure you guys are checking your emails, make sure you're going through any texts, anything that you're being kept up to date on the process. And I do this along the way. I'll send you a text follow up, the status, or I'll send you an email, and or sometimes it may be a call just to let you know if it's an offer that's been presented to you. Here's your offer, and then you can give me feedback whether you accept it or not. What am I hearing in return? And then I can help you. Like again, I helped out an individual today who had an offer on the table, but they couldn't take it because of the repayment. It was just too high, what they would have to be paying on a monthly basis. So then we would then investigate for a line of credit option. So instead of going the revenue-based / MCA, merchant cash advance loan, then we can perhaps get them a line of credit to get a purchase of an existing business that makes sense at that capacity. So there are a lot of options on the table, but if you just shut down, you will never know. So you have to open up about that. So what is the 550 plus FICO credit score news about? So if you've been going through an application with like Bank Breezy, the David Allen Capital Program, Biddy Advance, etc., or perhaps it's another program out there, and it says 450, realistically what we're wanting is a 550 and above FICO credit score. Why? Because so many people will default. And on top of that, a lot of people get into collections. Over half of that, there are a lot of complaints on top of all of it. A lot of the lenders, a lot of the underwriters, and the company having to hear back. Even I'll hear back from times, well, I can't make the payment. Can we get an extension? And a lot of the cases, that is impossible. And there have been times where if you build a strong enough relationship with somebody, it can be, but it's not it's just like almost rare. So you shouldn't be expecting that. And so that's why that 550 plus requirement is in there, because again, so many people will complain. So many people can't make those payments. People end up in collections, all these defaults happening, and then people just getting rowdy and just trying to mouth off to people. And nobody needs that. Nobody needs that energy and time. I don't at all, especially me. I will not want to go through that process. So that's a requirement. Yes, there are circumstances where if you have a 450 to above, 450 to like a 550, you can if you have strong enough revenue and it's consistent enough. So you have to think about that. And the minimum is 5,000 plus per month. But if you're not consistent and you don't have strong enough revenue, and there's other details that we look at, then it can be a bit more difficult. If it's just under 550, but you have strong enough revenue and this is happening, then we can consider it. But that should be the case, not only with here, but everywhere else. I think I turned off the light. Let me get the light back on here. I'm just barely having breakfast here. It is closer to 12, I know. And I just had to do some things earlier, so I didn't get to that. And then I had the light on before I left, turned it off, came back. So I apologize if there wasn't enough light coming through. But that's also because I have the blinds open. It's just, there's no light. It's dark out there. So if you're not tuning into these lives, and I said this yesterday, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, but because you are here, I appreciate your time. Now, that is the update that I want to come out with in this, that if you have a 550 and below, it can be a bit difficult because you just don't have the revenue. One, it's not strong enough, and then two, it just ends up causing a lot of problems. Even if you might not be that person, a lot of lenders, they pull back and they do not want to work with that because they've seen it and they've heard it all. I've been there too. I've seen everything that comes through on their end, and I've seen it on my end, like people giving me complaints and stuff. I'm like, why is that even coming to me? I'm not doing anything wrong. But if you've been recently declined for those services, now you know. And what you should do is, one, raise your credit score. That is ultimately what you should be focused on as a business owner. And that's my next segment. With credit, you should be looking at improving it every single time. Even if you're in that good to great to excellent range, never get comfortable with what you have, because that'll limit what kind of funding service you can get, like what you can go and apply for. I have people right now who want to apply for 2 to plus years, but they don't have the credit score, they don't have the revenue, so they end up getting somewhere between 3 to 18, 3, 4 to 24 months for the most part, and then they wonder why they're in the situation they're in. So what can you do to increase your FICO credit score to begin with? Not even talking about with business credit, because I've just been dealing so much with that with so many business owners as well as my own business credit. So on the FICO side of the equation, understand what you're taking on, the amount of utilization rate, your debt to income ratio, anything that just doesn't look credible in those accounts, anything that you can pay off, and make sure you do that. I know this isn't going into too much about how to fix your credit score and what you should be doing, but there are so many little bits and details. If you can pay something off, make that huge payment, pay it off as soon as possible, as soon as you bring on some debt, and just go into all that. And there's a lot more I can get into, but that will severely like bring you up, and then you can qualify for more funding. Perhaps you have there's other problems that are at the surface. So if you have a strong enough of a credit score, let's say it's just FICO we're looking at right now. You say you have a 650, you have 50,000 and above in revenue, but you have only like 10 months in business, 9 months in business. What do you think will happen? You will not get the best terms. If you were to have about, specifically also in different industries, it depends, but a lot of the times we want a year's plus worth of time to get even better terms. And this is just in the term rate, the term side of the equation. So if you have a year's plus of time in business, you have 50,000 and above, let's say that revenue is coming in good, but you have some things in your credit, maybe it's a 650, perhaps we can get you into the 7 to 11 month time frame. But anything with less time in business, say you have enough of the credit score that's showing you have the revenue, but your time in business, and also if we're looking at it, if it's an industry specific thing, then it's like, well, you don't have that. So we can't give you the 7 to 11 months. We cannot give you the 12 to 24 months. We can actually only give you up to 6. We can only give you 6 months. And for many business owners, this will not work, because if you look at the repayment, it's one thing to get 6 months. It's one thing to see that and then to look at it, okay, what is my daily, weekly, biweekly, and monthly payment? So today I've had multiple of those offers come through, especially in the week, where business owners decline those offers. And why again? If this is you, it's because your credit score is an issue. There are other things that are a problem. You're dealing with so many variables outside of that when we go through the underwriting process. Why you're giving those 6 months, that's the reason. And I've had people today, not only today from multiple ones, but just previously, who when you look at the total of monthly payments that they have to make, they are doing a total of 13,000 per month that they have to repay back. And when we break that down and we say, okay, maybe it's a $600 plus per month, per day payment, thousands per week, and then that amounts to 13,000 at the end of the month. Why are you getting that offer? Well, it's in the factor rates, or maybe the total payback is higher. You're in that 1.4 to a 1.49 because you're considered not having a 700 plus FICO credit score. You don't even have the time in business. Those two things alone, if you would have had if you would have just had the 50,000 and above, which you are doing, but you are insufficient in your time in business, you don't have the FICO credit score where it needs to be, you're getting those 6 months that are very reasonable. And there are some lenders out there that will then budge and then say, well, we can give you an extra month or half of an extra month, and then we can try to lower the payments. And that still may not be sufficient enough. So what should you do? You either look at a different alternative, which I can help you with if you haven't seen them already, which I've done for multiple people today that couldn't accept the offer they were given, and I gave them an alternative where they can perhaps do a line of credit, or we can do weekly repayments, sometimes monthly, or we can do 6 to 9, 12-month repayments, where you would get a withdrawal fee on any time you take out that amount, but you don't have to use it up all at once. So that may be an alternative, and there are more. But if you don't communicate this with me, if I hadn't communicated this with you before, you will never know. Some people are quick to say, well, thank you for helping me. No, here's another option I can help you with. So don't shut down as a business owner, as the entrepreneur, because there are other options. If that's not the case, then we can revisit it. think about it. If you had what, a year's worth of business and you didn't get the terms and the rates you wanted and the repayment wasn't looking good at all, then what do we say? If you can wait another year, perhaps we can get you between 7 to 11 months, perhaps drop the rates, get you less daily payments, maybe drop it by half. If you were getting 600, perhaps we can do a $300 plus and above payment. Would that be sufficient enough for you? Those are the questions that I ask myself, and that's what I want you to be presented with. But if you are not even opening up my emails, if you're not even tuning into these lives constantly, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Honestly, you are. But if you are watching this, then you know this stuff. And you've probably heard me say it with the exclusion of the update of the 550 and above FICO. So what are the categories? And then I'll close up this video. So there are buckets where we categorize based off of your funding criteria. So if you have exceptional funding criteria, you're considered A paper lending, and I won't get into all the little minute details of that. If you don't have something sufficient enough, you fall just below that tier at a B to C, and then the other one you have a D. Sometimes they're B to C combined, or B and C are separate, depending on the terms and the rates. And for those of you who are watching this and I haven't gone back to your questionnaire form, if you filled that out, it is under review from myself. So I will continue to analyze, evaluate it, and give you a proper response back on what you can get funding for, your best option and your options. And I've spoken to people today. I've sent them their emails, and they have everything that they need to move forward with. But yeah, that's what you guys need to know, that there are different buckets that, hey, do you qualify for a bank term loan? That's why in the questionnaire, I ask you guys, do you have established business credit? Perhaps you say you can qualify for that, but you don't have established business credit. And then I may even update that questionnaire form to say, do you even qualify for a traditional bank loan? Because then that will tell me a lot. You may say yes, you may say no, you may say you don't know. But then again, I have an idea. Probably you have like the most superior funding criteria, but you don't qualify for traditional banking. So that tells me you won't qualify for online banking. Those look better with the interest rates and the type of payments, the premiums and stuff that you get alongside of that. But if you don't qualify for it, then you can't take that option, at least now. If that's what you're looking for, funding now, you wouldn't be able to. But in the future, perhaps with everything being established, then that can be an option. But I will also do my due diligence to make sure you have that information presented to you so that when you go and apply, you have it. But like I've said time and time again, if you're not even opening up my emails, you're not even tuning into these, if you've been given a response back to your funding details and you're giving me excuse after excuse, excuses are for, those people out there who don't care about being punctual themselves and don't respect somebody else's energy and their time, which I get a lot of people who do that, who say, I'm serious about getting funding. I'll email you back. Thank you for that email. And guess what? Nothing. What you said in your words, they don't show for in your actions. And you could do that vice versa. And it shows me you're not a punctual person. You're a business owner, but you're not an entrepreneur. If you were an entrepreneur, you would understand what it means to be punctual and to respect somebody else's time. So this is where I draw the line between those two, and I'll kind of close off here. You're a business owner, but are you an entrepreneur? Do you think like an entrepreneur? Are you a problem solver? You should be. You're a business owner. You should be problem solving. So if you think about something you're going to do, if you say you're going to do something, even if you don't, you just show it with your actions, and it doesn't present itself, to me, that's an excuse. That's a load of BS. And I'm one of the most humbled people out there. I'm introverted. I'm very cerebral. And if you lack that skill set or lack that characteristic to me, it just shows. And I really don't spend a lot of time on those files right away. You could just give me some feedback and say, hey, Michael, I appreciate your email. I'm not looking for funding at the moment. I will be in about a month or two, but you can reach back out to me. Cool. Or say, hey, this doesn't make sense to me. Can you please elaborate on this? Instead of saying, this doesn't make sense to me, I don't want this. People shut down too easily. So what I'm saying to you, and I'll go on for a few more minutes, but don't shut down. If you're not presented with the offer you want, give me feedback. I usually see the offer, sometimes I don't, so I'll ask you that. Like today, I've helped out multiple people purchasing existing businesses for expansion, for payroll, for all these things, debt consolidation, refinancing, etc., buying out people's loans, which I'm going to get into with some people today who have to email, hopefully today, if not so tomorrow. But if you're not giving me any feedback, I'm not pressuring you. I just want information. I have people who have an offer who are who I get these offers and I see them and I go, well, yep, that person might not want it because they have a terrible credit score, but they were presented with the best offer. They may have not gotten all the funding that they wanted in one shot, or perhaps they did. They just were not happy with the repayment. Why? And they're going to be doing, what do you guess? They're going to be looking around, trying to go to like the Lendios or the lending trees, or if they haven't already, they're going to try to find ways to manipulate the system. That's exactly what ends up happening because you're lazy. You'll become very lazy about wanting to fix your credit score, your business, and your FICO. Those are two separate things. They can be compared when we look at credit worthiness. And if you don't have any of that established, you think you do, but you haven't built the foundation, you're not even reporting any trade lines, you're not doing it correctly, then make sure you look at my free business credit building video series if you haven't, down below in the description. Everything else you need to know will be down below. But like I've said, and I'll continue to reiterate this on most lives, if you're not tuning into these, you're missing out on a lot. And when I keep hearing excuses after excuses, but and even if you've been in here, sometimes we need a point, we need some clarification, or you forgot something. I get it. But how hard is it to come back and watch the replay one and be a little resourceful? It's not, is it? So I'm not asking for the world. I'm not saying you have to know everything. What I'm saying is, if you're not resourceful, and also one other thing too, as a leader, I train loan brokers / agents. I do all of that. But even them, if you're one of them watching, you're not resourceful. You're not plugging into the training that I'm giving you, everything that comes out on this channel, unlisted, publicly, etc. I don't want to have to hear it, honestly, because I have so much to do in a day. I don't get done. Maybe today I'll get done earlier because it's a Friday and it's less heavy. But even when I'm not, my mind is away from my work. My mind is away from my business is not just a business. I run multiple ones and I have to take care of them on a daily basis. And so like my babies that I have, multiple ones here, you should be caring about it and doing your own resources and looking at things and plugging in. This is the mindset that you have to come with. It's not about, hey, I just want to get on a quick call. Yeah, that quick call could have been avoided when I've given you the information. However, I presented it to you. Maybe it was in an email, an SMS, a text. I get a lot of people want to hear from you. They want to raise questions. But if you don't even take the initial steps to what is legitimate, because you have an old-fashioned mindset, it is going to hinder you. It really is. In just about over 50% of the cases, there's times when it needs to be a phone call, but there are very much a lot of them that don't need to be. And so if you're not plugging in, and I ask people, where are you, especially as a business owner, if you're looking for funding or if you're in other programs, if you have not even started, if you're questioning the validity of something, and you're still in the same position today, you're going to be in a week, in a month, you have to really do some self-evaluation. And it isn't because, oh, I didn't get to speak to Michael because he didn't give me the answer on this. Most likely I did. It's just a raise of a FAQ question, but you haven't even gone started over here. You're trying to build everything. And another thing too, as a business owner, I get it. You know the amount of deposits on a monthly basis, but when you're given these offers, do you really understand the assessment of your business? Do you really understand the accounting side? Do you really know the budgeting? Because you may not have a cash flow problem. You look like you can afford those payments, those daily, weekly, even monthly payments. Perhaps you're trying to back away because if you take this, you're unsure of the logistics of it. And that's one part of the equation. And that's what I try to educate you guys on. Most business owners don't understand that if they take this funding, will it really impact your business in a negative or in a positive way? And so you have to understand that. And there are alternatives if they are presented to you. Again, if you guys are tuning in, today I'm just talking about if you have below a 550 FICO credit score, if you've applied to certain programs and you've been declined time and time again, that may be the case. It is because lenders are pulling away for the fact that too many people complain, too many people default, people end up over 50%, and this is a statistic, end up in collections, and they end up saying, well, I want a deferment or I can't make these payments, and that just doesn't happen. You don't see that. I know I just released a video on the idle, an extra 6 months of deferment. I'll try to link to you down below. But make sure you're getting plugged in. Even if you're not looking for business funding, this will help. But anything 550 and above, like I have people today who've been asking me via email, I've been declined through this program, but I have the FICO credit score and I have this in revenue. Yeah, you might have 5,000 and above, not exactly 15,000 and over, but your credit score is just 550 and below. It's below 550. And if you don't have that, you don't even have strong, we can override it, try to override it with stronger revenue, and it's not even consistent. Guess what? Lenders will not. They're shying away. They're saying, no, I've seen this movie, and I've gotten so many people texting me and emailing me about that I don't even want to deal with it. And it's true. It's so many people, it might not even be you, but so many people, they complain. And I've gotten that in so many cases, and I speak to people on a daily basis. I have 3 positions on this loan. Do you think they can defer the monthly payments or the weekly payment, whatever it is? No, unless you have a strong enough relationship with that lender. And that even and that's very rare to get, like where they're going to defer a payment from you. Like, yeah, you can't make these payments. Well, hey, you're liable. This is what is mentioned on the contract. This is what you signed. This is what you need to do. All right, so I guess I'll give it a few more minutes. If anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, right now is the time to do it. Do not shy away. Get plugged into these videos. If you guys are not, yeah, I see you guys on my email list. Some of you guys opening up emails, but then say, I'll get back to it. This doesn't matter to me. One extra video could change the whole course of your life. Not even your business, just your life. And your business comes second. Take care of those responsibilities, and if you're not doing that, it just doesn't show you care enough, or you've probably been through so many different things and they just don't work. Well, if that's the case, why? Well, you don't know why because you haven't been watching any of these. You haven't been opening up my videos, and be honest with yourself. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes here. I know people are busy. You guys are probably tuning in from work. What I have going on after this, I'm going to try to fill out some questionnaire forms. People have been submitting them. If you guys haven't, I'll try to leave that here in the comment section if you guys can see this, or I'll try to leave it in the description when you guys get a chance. Make sure you fill out that business questionnaire form. And if you're asking me about updates on your offer and you're not checking your email, go do that first before I give you an answer. Go look through your emails first. Make sure you're looking through all your information. So, because you're always updated. If you're not, there it is. I posted it. You can see it. If you can't, again, I'll try to post it in the description. But some few bonus tips that you guys should be aware of. And I have a full list of them actually right here. I was looking at my calendar. So one thing you have to understand, going back to getting approved for bank term loans, you don't qualify for one. So why are you looking for these low interest rates that don't exist? And I'll explain it to you in these emails. A lot of people just get it and they go through and they apply. But a lot of people at the same time, they don't read emails. So what you need to do when I say the email package is in your email inbox, you open up that email and you do what? No, you just don't go click a link. You don't just read a sentence. You don't just click buttons everywhere or exit out or you do something different. You take the time when you have the time to thoroughly read what is in that email. I have people who go and apply because they're impatient. Don't be an impatient business owner. I've learned how to have better patience. Believe me, out of everyone in our family, there's 4 of us. My mom and I probably, and I had to learn it. It's just something that I had to grow into. My dad probably the least. And then my little brother who's 23, he's similar. That's my dad's characteristics. I have my dad's characteristics too, but I got those from my mom as well. But if you're not being patient enough, if you're not being considerate of somebody else who's giving you information, and I spoke to my mom on this yesterday, like we got together, I saw her. She goes, you wouldn't even imagine the amount of people who I train, 1, but then 2, people who call, because she takes calls, of the people who don't even go through the things they need to go through before they do this, because this could have all been avoided. So it's not like I'm saying I don't want to speak to each and every one of you. I love it. I love getting to know you guys as a person. That's what I love. But if you are bringing up things that like, hey, this is self-explanatory, you have to be resourceful to that. Like this is a team of one here. I'm not in a call center. I'm not at a company. I'm at home. I have my businesses I run. So I am going to differentiate those people who are serious and those who are not. And I could tell right away. Like the other day, I've had people asking me, this is not the right application. Well, you didn't go into the email, did you? Did you not in that way, not in an aggressive way, but in my mind, I'm thinking, did they even go through the email? I left them a little note there before they even click the button. Like everything they need to know is in there. And then people go through it all, and then at the end of the day, they don't even get approved for funding. And it's like, why did I go through all of that just so you didn't get approved for anything, or you didn't even end up taking whatever you could have gotten offered? Like, you see how much energy is wasted in this whole process. This is why I have systems built for you guys, so you guys can understand this. Now, I want to get into the share screen and show you guys a simple way. We're coming towards the end of the month. For those of you who have gone funding, congratulations, and I will be reaching out to you today, hopefully tomorrow, if not as soon as next week. Those of you who are not plugging in, those of you who are not understanding this, people who are like, well, I want to talk to you, I want to get on the phone call, and I want to be able to do this with you. And yeah, that's great. I love that. But there's a faster way. There's a way to expedite this before I even get on the call with you if that's necessary. Stop listening to people who are like, yeah, I'm always on the phone call with this person. Yeah, you got to be careful. One, and then two, that's not the best thing to do in all cases. One moment. So you probably have seen this already, but just stick with me. So we have a company here called David Allen Capital Inc., where you can get up to $2 million incredibly fast funding and even up to $25,000 same day instant approval. We even have a line of credit program. Take a look. Where at the moment we can get you between $5,000 to $100,000 incredibly fast. And you can take these and use the funds whenever you need to. These are weekly repayments, low fees, a better fee structure, and you get a lot of flexibility because you don't have to use it as a whole lump sum. You can take it out and use it whenever you need. I have so many people today who I get notifications from submitting line of credit options, applications that go through and they complete it. They're on their ways. They're in and out. They don't complain. They don't go through this. If they understand, if this doesn't happen, what is the next thing? But you guys got to stop shutting down on me and saying, well, thank you for your help. Yeah, that's got to stop. So then over here we have, how does a revolving line of credit work? Automatic repayments, as I just mentioned, new draws and revolving limits. You can receive an approval up to $100,000. You can take those funds out whenever you need to. Qualification, it is very simple. And do you qualify? Just for this line of credit program, you have a year's plus worth in business anywhere in the United States, 550 plus personal FICO credit score, of 15,000 plus per month in revenue. As I just stated earlier, 550 and above. If we're talking about our up to 25K program through Bank Breezy, this is what I'm talking about. If you have a 450, we can accept that. There are some exceptions in this. Okay, so a 450 can be evaluated with strong enough cash flow and revenue and other bits of details. But if you do not have any of that, then it's going to be very difficult. So with Bank Breezy, I've seen a lot of people going through here with us connected with Biddy Advance, who's our partnership, who've gone to clients because of that. So be aware of that being the case if you fall into that category. So what should you do? You can speak with me. I can give you some supplemental information. But a lot of you, I honestly know this because I speak to every one of you on a daily basis, whether it is you exactly or someone else. You don't take action. I don't see it. Like, I know this because I was in your shoes and I was at the same part where I would put things off. I would procrastinate back in the days when this was all going on and I didn't have the most patience. But this is what I see because I've been in this position before. I've been declined for loads of funding for the lesser amount. And what did I have to do? I had to increase my credit score, my monthly revenue, my time in business, and other credentials, other things in your bank statements, etc. So with our up to 2 million program here, we can get you in with at least a 500 plus FICO. In monthly revenue, at least 15,000 plus per month in revenue. And then all industries are welcome. I've helped out serve so many of those 700 you see here. I've just served about those and more. So over 700. And let me move this out of the screen. And what can I tell you at the end of the day? It's all about action. When it comes down to it, you have the information. The only thing that's holding you back is the fear and the belief that this can work for you. And 3, the safety and security of what this all entails. So what is stopping you? That's what you have to look at. And it could be a multiple amount of factors. It could be that you've been declined here, or perhaps you will not qualify. So going through the application, you don't want to waste your energy and your time. This is why you speak with me. This is why you get these customized and personalized emails from me. But if you're not even opening those up, you're not even one thing is opening it. The whole other thing is going through it, taking the time, not just looking at something and clicking the link. I had people today who got declines. I got updates, low months, no revenue. And if they come back to me and they tell me, well, hey, I didn't know this. Yes, you did. It was in the email. Look, I can even tell you, I can even point it out. I can put it on the share screen if you want to get on the Zoom, and I could show you where it says, hey, are you doing 15,000 and above within each of the last 3 months? Low revenue? Nope. Oh, well, I thought I was going to get this amount, but yeah, you have 2 loans to consider on this side of the equation. Why do you think we were going to get you this amount of funding? Sometimes I may have not stated that 100%, but it is now. And you should know that because you've been through that or you've been told that. So what I hear for the most part, there are legitimate questions to all of this, but then there's the other side of the equation that's a lot of excuses, a lot of excuses. And if you really wanted the funding, what would you do? And you would fight tooth and nail to get it. Whether you can get what you want now or you don't get approved for it, what should you do? Instead of, you should go and fix your credit score if that's what's needed. Get another month of business in so you can get that 2-year anniversary in so we can get you some better terms and better rates. But saying, oh, well, I have strong enough revenue, but my credit score is lacking. Why do I get 6 months instead of this 11 month that I thought I would get over here? Well, it's because you don't have it. And so that's the reality. And yeah, it is a struggle out there. I'm truly on board with all of that. I love it when I hear from you guys what's happening. I take that all into consideration. But at the end of the day, let's not fool each other. And one other thing that I want to leave you guys with, I know I've been a little bit excessive, stick to your word, stick to your actions. If you say something you're going to do, whether it's directed towards me or not, and it's even worse if you tell me you're going to do something, you don't do it. Oh, because I got busy, I just forgot about it. That's worse. That's just worse. That's just a load of BS. That's an excuse. And that doesn't necessarily mean I don't like you or I won't work with you. It just means get it together, man. Or get it together, lady. Like we need to come together and say, hey, if I'm going to take action on this, I'm going to do my best to reduce the amount of stress on this person. And that's what I'm thinking on your end. If you're going through something, I'm going to think things through as a business owner before I go get in my offer. Oh, I can answer this question on my own. I don't have to go reach out to Michael. That just avoided a step in time. If there's something that needs to be asked, yeah, something that didn't get answered, by all means. And I love that. Just go ahead. You need me to reemphasize something good. But if you're given the information time and time again, especially if you don't commit, I'm not saying commit 100%. I'm just saying commit to the fact that when you say you're going to do something, you do it. And another thing too, what shows me you lack commitment is if you're just filling out these questionnaires and you don't even give me feedback, like then I have to go I have individuals right now who I don't really want to have to go and send them an email. Are you still interested in getting business funding? If not, just tell me yes or no. Simple as that. I don't want to have to hear about your problems. Just tell me if it's a yes or a no, because I've been trying to get a hold of you for a week and you haven't said anything to me. I don't know. Like you possibly could be considering it, but you just don't want it now or something's happening. I don't know. So stop being that person. This is your wake-up call again. And that will be everything from me. Everyone, take care. Talk to you all soon. Have a great